I thought I did it. I am live. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the United Stand. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on here. We are live. I don't know how long we've been live. It normally comes up on my screen that I'm live. Anyway, hello, everybody, and welcome to the United Stand. Zakaria offer made is what we're going to talk about. We've also got some latest news around Eric Bailly coming from Fabrizio Romano as well. Sort of caught on the hop there. Don't know what was going on with YouTube. Apologies for that. Don't know at what point I came live and what point I wasn't live. So I will start the video by saying that as discussed last night, Zakaria interest came in from Sky Germany and a couple of people that are pretty good around German news. Christian Falk came out just over an hour ago saying true, which is his tag. You know, here we go for Romano. Christian Falk is true. He said true. And effectively what he said is Manchester United have made an offer to the agents of Dennis Zakaria. No offer to Mönchengladbach yet, and other clubs are interested. But true, Manchester United have made an offer to the agents of Dennis Zakaria. Now this is big for two reasons. First of all, I said to you last night that last night was the start, needed to be the start of something that developed further today. And I actually name-checked Christian Falk because I know he's good around German news. What's happened today? Christian Falk's come out and said, true, there has been an offer made to Dennis Zakaria. Now, I'm fully aware of what the Manchester Evening News have said, and I'll come to that in a minute, and that's your UK outlet. But we're dealing with Germany here, and what we're getting from Germany is very, very good information that Manchester United are doing something around Dennis Zakaria. Now, there are people out there that think Christian Falk is not very good source. I'll tell you now, in my opinion, when it comes to German news, he's tier 1. Upamecano to Bayern Munich, he got it a year before. Haaland to Dortmund, when everyone thought it was going to be United, he got that early. Bellingham to Dortmund, he got that impressively early. And Werner, he was all over that to Chelsea as well. All Bundesliga moves, and obviously this would be a Bundesliga move. So I'm encouraged by that. There are also a couple of other outlets talking about this that I need to just bring you up to date with as well, and they would be as follows. We've got a Fabrizio Romano update as well. Some news here that football agent Mino Raiola has apparently been hospitalised after an emergency surgery. Okay, I don't think anyone's going to comment nicely on that, but I will. I say hopefully it's nothing too serious. You don't wish it's football at the end of the day. Don't wish serious harm on anybody. So this is what we've got in relation to this at the moment. So we've got not Ralf Rangnick, Christian Falk. We've also got Patrick Berger, who's very good. You'll probably remember his name from the Sancho deal. Ronan Murphy, who we mentioned last night, he's tweeted again saying Manchester United have made an offer to Dennis Zakaria, according to Sport Bild. However, Mönchengladbach have not been contacted yet about a January transfer. And then also we've got Patrick Berger saying that... where's Patrick Berger's bit? Here it is. What did Patrick Berger say? Here we go. Manchester United are definitely interested in Dennis Zakaria. There have been good talks with Rangnick, Matt Judge and the players' agents. United are discussing about a winter transfer. Gladbach would gladly let Zakaria go for 6 to 7 million euros. And then he goes on to say that the uncertain futures of players such as Pogba, Donny and Lingard are currently preventing Rangnick from doing a deal for Zakaria in the January transfer window. So that is where we're basically at in relation to the German outlets, and they're saying that Manchester United have made contact with Dennis Zakaria. They do want to bring Dennis Zakaria to the club, but a little bit there from Patrick Berger that the future of Pogba, Donny and Lingard could be impacting on this. I mean, that's just... I agree with what CFC Blues says. Well, I don't agree with the second bit, but he says Man United is a small club and then he's going to get himself blocked because you've got no right to say what you just said. But the reality is, it is small-minded. This is a centre defensive midfielder for £6 million who ticks all the boxes. Manchester United cannot act like bloody Middlesbrough. We're Manchester United. We need a centre defensive midfielder. You can't sit there and go, yes, we'd like that centre defensive midfielder who ticks all the boxes for £6 million and is a ridiculous bargain, but we're not going to buy him until we know what happens with Paul Pogba, who's not a centre defensive midfielder, Donny van der Beek, who's not a centre defensive midfielder, and Jesse Lingard, who's not a centre defensive midfielder. And it goes back to what I spoke about the Bailly deal. The Bay deal of the new contract was to retain value. It was nothing to do with football. And not buying Zakaria in January because you don't know what's happening with Donny, Pogba and Lingard. Again, it's a business decision. None of those players can play where we need Zakaria to play. So it would be stupidity for that to be the reason. So, look, I hope that there's something in this. More excuses from the club, says Romano. The reality is that Manchester United, we've now had a recent update, and I say recent in the last sort of 10 minutes, from the Manchester Evening News. And what they're saying is that Dennis Zakaria is unlikely to join Manchester United in January. There hasn't been any direct contact with the player or the club, and that Manchester United are still very much saying that the January transfer market is a very difficult one, and even Ranić is. I don't buy that story from Manchester Evening News. I mean, I don't buy the Manchester Evening News anyway, but I don't buy that story. It's nonsensical to me. It feels like a brief from the club. Now, I don't know whether that is a brief from the club, but it feels to me like a holding website. And effectively, I feel that, we are on the 12th of January, and what I will say is this. Whether we're going to buy Dennis Zakaria or not, I don't think we will buy him until the last week of the transfer window anyway. And the reason I say that, and hopefully I'll be wrong on this or right on this, whichever way you want it to go. But we're playing Villa on Saturday. I think he's currently been recovering from COVID, so even if we got him, he wouldn't play against Villa. Then we've got Brentford, then we've got West Ham, then we've got 2 weeks off again because of the international break that happens at the end of the month, which doesn't involve European clubs. So I think that the first time that Zakaria could play for us would be the Middlesbrough game on the 6th of February, which is, just under a month away. So I think United would look at buying him at the end of the transfer window, where they expect to get a bit of a bargain because Mönchengladbach might lower it down a little bit more. So I don't think this is going to be a deal that's going to happen quickly anyway, which therefore feeds into my theory that the Manchester Evening News story is just a holding story. It won't matter in 2 weeks if we sign him because Manchester Evening News can say, well, they changed their mind. So I think that what's happened is the German outlets are pushing Zakaria to United, and United and Manchester Evening News are just calming it a little bit and going, no, nothing's happening. I don't think it's like Alvarez, where you had the Argentinian press pushing the move to get him a move to Europe. This, all right, people could say, well, it's a load of German outlets again, but it's not. It doesn't work like that in Germany, and it doesn't work like that really in Europe. Portugal a little bit. They Portuguese press can definitely start talking about a player to United that's never going to happen. German press don't really do it. So I do think that United are in discussions with Zakaria. Romano himself said that we'd been talking to him in December. You've now got good German journalists saying that we're speaking to him now. I think this is a deal that Ranić 100% wants to do. He definitely wants a midfielder. It has kicked back in. Let me know. Refresh. It'll come back. Sometimes it just goes for a couple of seconds. We are live. So yeah, I don't know what I was just saying there, but yeah, I think that the only reason United won't buy Zakaria is not because they don't want him. It's not because Ranić doesn't want him. It will be because of the board pulling rank and saying, well, no, you're not having him. You're not having him because we've got to sell to buy. And that I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair at all. I don't think that it's fair that that Ralf Rangnick can't get a really reasonable priced player because the person in the summer didn't get rid of the players he needed to get. And as I said, if there's any truth in the fact that we won't buy anybody in January until we know what's happening with people like Jesse Lingard, I mean, for fuck's sake, he shouldn't even be here, and he's an attacking midfielder. It's the logic of it's the fear that grips you, because you know it's logically probably what United are doing. We can't buy you Zakaria until we know what's happening with Jesse. I mean, he's not a midfielder. That's what's happening with him. So there we go. There's no bid for the player. I can categorically tell you there's no bid for the player. Zakaria offer made is to do with the contact we've made with Zakaria. And this is normal in transfers. I mean, some of you have been watching the United Stand for years, so you will know how transfers work. If you don't know how transfers work, if you want to buy a player, you don't. So if you want to buy Zakaria from Mönchengladbach for 6 million, you don't phone up Mönchengladbach and say, how much do you want for him? 6 million. Okay, let's get talking, because you have not spoken to Zakaria. So you've got to know whether the player's interested before you can go to Mönchengladbach. Now, here's a point for you that probably nobody's picked up upon. If PSG want to speak to Paul Pogba, and I'm talking about Pogba on the 7 o'clock show tonight, because I've got some interesting stuff about that. If PSG want to speak to Paul Pogba now, if there was a headline this afternoon, PSG in talks for Paul Pogba, and PSG come out and go, yes, we have been talking to Paul Pogba, we can't do PSG for tapping up. Because from January the 1st, when you're in the final 6 months of your contract, you can talk to any club you like as long as it's not in the league that you're playing your football. So Pogba can't talk to Chelsea, can't talk to Man City. I mean, he probably would, but he can't. We can talk to Zakaria. Arsenal can talk to Zakaria. Real Madrid can talk to Zakaria. And this is something as well. Even if United agree a deal with Mönchengladbach in January, if Zakaria says, I've spoken to Bayern Munich and that's where I want to go, Mönchengladbach can say, well, we've got an offer on the table from United for 6 million. And Zakaria can go, well, you know what you can do with that offer. I'm going to Bayern Munich. I'm going to stay here for the next 5 months and I'm going to Bayern Munich in the summer. And Mönchengladbach are powerless. So understand this transfer is what I would say. A lot of people are going, well, I don't believe it because we haven't actually put a bid in with Mönchengladbach. It's a very unique transfer where the bid to Mönchengladbach is actually irrelevant, because even if they accept it, it's down to Zakaria. The person you've got to negotiate, and the reason we're hearing a lot of, we've spoken to Zakaria, Romano said we spoke to him in December, the German outlets are saying that we're speaking to him now. This is not a normal transfer where you speak to Zakaria, you speak to the club, you get the deal done. It's Zakaria you've got to convince, because he's out of contract in the summer. And if we're talking to him, I guarantee there are other clubs talking to him. Now, interestingly, Bayern Munich and Dortmund should not be talking to him because they are in his league. The only clubs that should be talking to him are the ones outside of Germany. So we've got to take advantage of this situation, and hopefully, I think if we want him, we can get him. I do. Rangnick's way more respected in the Bundesliga than he is in the Premier League, and Zakaria will be aware of who he is. Surely we just terminate Mata's contract and bring him in instead of worrying about Pogba, Lingard and Van der Beek. We're a joker for clubs, says Advents. Welcome to the Members Club, Kenny. I don't understand why aren't we doing the Zakaria deal when we're still paying salary for players like Mata and Martial. We should let Mata go and accept a deal for Martial and buy Zakaria, says Ronald. Any idea when the Brighton game is going to be played? Surely at the end of the month, FA Cup next round and Champions League is in February. Red Devil TV, I don't think that's going to get rearranged until maybe March or April now. As I said last night, the stupidity of this winter break is just unbelievable. Basically, after the West Ham game, we don't play again until we play Middlesbrough on February the 6th, because the weekend at the end of January has been classified as a winter break, which is actually not a winter break because it's a South American international break. So we're not going to have a game that weekend. So we're going to have 2 weeks off again. United have had more bloody holidays this year than bloody Piers Morgan. And the reality, I don't know whether he goes on holiday much. I couldn't think. Who goes on holiday a lot? Anyway, what I was going to say is that we're going to be playing a lot of games in a very congested period after February. Let's be honest, they covered a large percentage of the 6 million fee with Ronaldo shirt sales. He is needed at United. I'll keep my fingers crossed, says Stiggy. And if we don't get him now, it shows how little power Ralph has got and will have. We need him and probably 2 more in the summer, says Sean from Ireland. I agree, Sean. I think we do need to bring people in the summer as well. So yeah, we do need to do that. But look, let's see what happens. But I'm very confident that United are in talks with Zakaria. But as I said, I don't know whether people are actually thinking about this transfer deal in the way that you should do. It's different. It's a different type of transfer deal. It's not about... People are getting very, very tetchy about, oh, we haven't put a bid in with Mönchengladbach yet. It doesn't really care. Mönchengladbach bid is irrelevant. It doesn't matter. Forget Mönchengladbach. Forget bid to Mönchengladbach. That will be the very last thing that needs to be done. They are irrelevant. It's a really unique transfer because the person you've got to negotiate with is the player, because he's out of contract in the summer. So basically, he'll be talking to loads of clubs at the moment, deciding where he wants to go next. If you get a deal agreed with Zakaria, it's deal done. And I hope people can understand that. He's out of contract in the summer. He's able to talk to clubs in January. And if we want him in January, we will have to pay a fee to Mönchengladbach, which they'll happily take. But Zakaria might say, I don't fancy United. I'm going to wait till the summer to go to Bayern or something like that. So the most important part of this transfer is the negotiations with Zakaria. So when you read Falk and everybody else saying that we've been negotiating with Zakaria, basically in a normal transfer, that's the same as negotiating with Dortmund to get Sancho. You are basically negotiating the player when they've only got 6 months left on their contract. So I think some people are going, oh yeah, we've got to put a bid in yet. The bid is irrelevant. The bid is irrelevant because Mönchengladbach will bloody take anything. But as I said, I've got to be fair and equal. Manchester Evening News are saying that they don't think it will happen. I do think it will happen. I've always felt we'd buy somebody in January, and this is the one that seems to be the one with the most legs in it at the moment. So let's see what happens with that. I'm afraid young players doesn't want to join United anymore since they just get benched, says Firal. Well, I've spoken about that before. I don't think that will make any difference. I am back on Twitch in about 20 minutes, half an hour, whenever I finish this show. It's season 3 of United Stand FC, and I've got some new signings myself, so I'm looking forward to starting that. Big first game of the season starts soon. Links in the video description for that. Get involved. A lot of people talking about Lamptey. There is a story from Aaron here saying that Liverpool are also interested in Zakaria, and it's an open race with Manchester United. Juventus also interested as well. Yeah, Aaron, I mean, if you chuck Arsenal in there, I'd agree with you. I mean, this is what we've just been talking about there. You're basically... There's a bargain for a player there. Any football club that wants a midfielder would be in this race. Now, if Liverpool get Zakaria, I ain't changing my mind. I still think he's a good player. I still think it's a good signing. I said it when they got Fabinho. So look, there's a race there to be won, and God, United need to run. If Liverpool want Zakaria, fair play, but they've already got Fabinho and Henderson. We've got McFred. We need this deal done. Percentage-wise, I'm probably up from 65% to 70%. But look, there's still a lot of work to be done on it. Just a little bit from Fabrizio Romano. He says that Eric Bay's future will be decided soon. Milan are interested in him as a potential new centre-back on loan. Talks opened, no final decision yet. I banged my bloody hand down on the table. If United put Eric Bay on loan, they're bloody idiots. This is a guy who played against, was it Chelsea played against this season? I'm very tired. I had hardly any sleep last night. But Eric Bay has played games for United this season and played really, really well. And we're going to let him go on frigging loan. As I said, it's bloody ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I said it this morning, and I'll be more blunt about it. Imagine you're in a relationship. Beautiful wife, beautiful husband, whichever what rocks your boat, right? You're in love, right? You go on holiday, you've had a great holiday. When you get back to the airport, there's this person there saying, and you go to your partner, you're going to go and live with them now for 6 months. But I thought you loved me. I don't know, I just agreed the deal. It makes no sense. Why are we loaning out Eric Bailly? Why are we letting Eric Bailly go on loan? If we're going to let him go, and we shouldn't let him go, at least get some bloody money for him. It's like lending somebody something you need. It's like your neighbour coming round and saying, can I borrow your lawnmower when you're just about to cut your own long grass? Yeah, take it, mate, and bring it back when you like. Your grass needs cutting. We shouldn't be loaning him out. I'm stunned by this, that it's developed into a loan deal. It's a fantastic deal for Milan if you get him on loan. It's a stupid deal for United. And one thing I would say about Ollie, he never would have let this happen. Brandon Williams wanted to go on loan last year and he said no, just in case we get some injuries. Like, we're going to Eric Bailly. Yeah, you go on loan, mate. Not only are you one of our best centre-backs, and we've got 2 or 3 really injury-prone centre-backs as well, and everybody else is out on loan, you go on loan as well. It makes no bloody sense. No sense at all. The Mail are saying that Tariq Lamptey at 30 million, though Brighton will be looking at closer to 40 million. Man United are looking at Lamptey. Mate, I would definitely try to get Tariq Lamptey. I've been a big admirer of his for a long time, as I'm sure most of you have. He seems to be over his injury issues at the moment, and I would take him at United, but I would also question, have we reached the end of the journey with Delo and Wan-Bissaka yet? It feels we won't be buying Lamptey is basically what I'm saying. We're talking about Man United, who won't spend £6 million on a midfielder they need. Why would they spend 40 million on a right back when they've got 2 right backs? So I don't know. And also you've got Ethan Laird coming through as well, and Brandon Williams is still a United player. So I don't believe we're going to buy a right back, but I do like Tariq Lamptey. He's a good player, but I think he'll end up at a club that's not Manchester United. There's also an update I've just been passed here as well, that Newcastle are trying to pull off an ambitious move to sign Leipzig centre midfielder Hadara. He's got a 33 million release clause, which becomes active this summer. Well, he was a player that we were potentially going to be looking at, but maybe only because he's Leipzig and Man United need a midfielder. So there you go. It's an interesting one. It really is. I mean, there's a lot about Rashford in the press at the moment, and you know what? I think in relation to Marcus Rashford, I'm just going to keep this line in my head, and everyone can do what they want. I just think Marcus Rashford, the proof's on the pitch, and I've read stuff today coming out of The Athletic, Laurie Whitwell again, and I'm with all due respect to him, he's a mouthpiece for the club. Nearly everything he says, I think, comes from the club, which is fine. But when he's talking about the situation with Rashford and how he's training and all this, that, and the other, I just think what I feel at the moment is that there is a charm offensive from Manchester United around Marcus Rashford at the moment, and there's a lot of stuff being put out about how he's training and he's almost studying Ronaldo. But the funny thing is, only 2 weeks ago, people were saying that Rashford didn't get on with Ronaldo. So, look, I can't be arsed with this. Social media FC. Whether Rashford likes Ronaldo, whether he's training hard, whether he's doing extra work, this, that and the other, ultimately, the only thing that matters in relation to Rashford is getting his confidence back and performing on the pitch. I was watching some clips of Rashford, when he broke through under Van Gaal this morning. And his body shape's completely different. Like the player he was when he burst on the scene, he's different now. His body shape's different. Now that's obviously going to happen because he was a teenager and now he's in his mid-20s. But just the way he took his shots, he seems to be, I don't know how to explain it, but go back and watch some of Rashford's goals when he first broke on the scene and look at him now. Obviously his body has changed, but he almost took more time when he was coming through. You look at his finishes, his body shape, it's slower, but it's more measured. And I think now at the moment he's a bit, he's quicker, but he's more wild in his shooting. I don't know whether there's anything like, what do I keep saying? Go back to basics. Marcus, just go back to basics. Get the ball, get rid of the ball. Stop trying to take too many people on. Stop trying to get a shot off from 30 yards. Give the ball and move. Pass the ball and move. Get into the right areas. In the box, come alive. If you get a chance, just focus on hitting the target. Like, don't think about power and placement. Just think about focus. Go back to basics. Feels like the midfielders we're scouting are being bought to replace Pogba and or Donny, not McFred. The club seem to think they're set at CDM, says Patrick C. Look, never think that we're going to get rid of McTominay and Fred. That's not happening. I mean, I've never mentioned that, and I haven't never seen anybody mention that. They're not going anywhere for 2 reasons. One, I think the club would rather put up a close sign and stop playing in the Premier League than sell Scott McTominay. I mean, just don't think that would ever happen. And 2, who's going to buy Fred? So they're not going anywhere. And you know what? To be honest with you, I've always been very consistent about this. I don't mind if Scott McTominay and Fred stay at Manchester United. Are they not the quintessential bench players? What you need is a midfield that is they're able. Look, what we know about McTominay and Fred is that they're nowhere near good enough to rival Man City, Chelsea, Liverpool. They're not good enough. We need a midfield that can rival Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool, and it's not McTominay and Fred. But if you have a midfield that can rival Chelsea, Man City and Liverpool, there's not a problem with having McTominay and Fred as your backup or your bench. So they're not going to go anywhere, and I don't think we should expect them to go anywhere. I don't necessarily mind that they don't go anywhere, but they should be the backup, and we should be bringing in real quality midfielders, and hopefully we will. Hopefully we will. Do you think Eric Bailly will sign for AC Milan, says Wig? I am absolutely stunned about this story that we might be letting Eric Bailly go. I'd be stunned about letting Eric Bailly go anyway. But Eric Bailly going on loan, I just can't get my head around it. I cannot get my head around it. We are going to be playing 3 games a week for pretty much most of February, March and April if we do well in the Cups. That means beating Atletico Madrid and obviously beating Middlesbrough. We've got Brighton to fit in at some point as well. We're playing 3 games next week in a week. So we're going to be playing loads and loads of games. And we think it's a good idea, considering Mengi's just gone on loan, Twansebi's just gone on loan, and we're going to let Bailly go on loan. 3 of our quickest centre-backs, all right, varying levels of experience, but 3 of our quickest centre-backs are on loan. And we're going to stick by Varane, who's had 2 injuries already. Maguire, who's actually picking up a few injuries and is out of form. Lindelof, who, look, divides opinion. I don't mind Lindelof. And Phil Jones, who's, you know, Phil Jones. So it doesn't make any sense to me. It does not make any sense to me why we would let Eric Bailly go, but apparently we're going to. Smash a like on the video. Someone said, what do you think the situation is with Zakaria? Personally, I think the situation with Zakaria is this, and this is only my opinion from reading what people are saying. My opinion on the Zakaria situation is that Manchester United want him, that they're trying to negotiate with him to come in January, but Zakaria is wanting to keep his options open. So United are backing off a bit and saying, well, it's not likely to happen in January. I think United want him in January. I think they can get him in January. But I think Zakaria has interest from other clubs and is probably waiting a little bit. And I think if it's going to happen, we're going to have to force the move a little bit more. We're going to have to be more aggressive. Whether that's, you know, I mean, look, ultimately it comes down to wages and you know, but he's on 50 grand a week at Mönchengladbach. What does he want? You know, he's out of contract. It's a very, in many ways, it's a very easy deal, but in other ways, it's a very difficult deal. People go, he's only on 50 grand a week at Mönchengladbach, right? But do you see Zakaria having the same impact as Bruno had on the team? Axel, we've got to get to that point. We've got to get to the point where we bring him in first. But I genuinely think, based on the credibility of the German outlets talking about it, I'm absolutely convinced that Manchester United are talking to Zakaria and that they want to bring him in January. 6 million is nothing. So forget Mönchengladbach. I really would say stop wondering about when we're going to put in a bid into Mönchengladbach. That will be right at the end, at the finish line, because he's out of contract in the summer. The only person you've got to convince here is Zakaria. Now, if he's on £50,000 a week, that's irrelevant as well, because how much is Zakaria worth? Well, he's worth 6 million at the moment, but really, how much is he worth? He's probably worth, it's hard because it's the Bundesliga, but somewhere between 20 and 40 million quid is probably what his value is. So his agent, if he goes to Bayern Munich in the summer, would say, we want 100 grand a week. And they'll go, yeah, but you're on 50 grand a week at Mönchengladbach. Yeah, but you're getting me for nothing. I want 100 grand a week and I want a signing on fee. And that could be a problem. I don't know whether that is a problem, but that could be a problem. And you know that becomes a problem when you're negotiating with United, because United will go, no, we're not going to give you 100 grand a week and pay 6 million quid as well. So it could be that Zakaria doesn't come because he just goes, apparently Kamara's going to do this at Marseille as well. Lingard's doing it. Pogba's doing it. These players might go, well, look, I'd love to come and play for United in January, but you're giving 6 million to Mönchengladbach that should be coming to me and will be coming to me in 5 months' time. So I don't think this is anything to do with United not being interested. I think it's very clear that United are interested, but I think it's to do with negotiating the package with Zakaria, who might just go, you know what, there's a bidding war here as well. Like, if Munich are interested, Dortmund are interested, Liverpool are interested, United are interested, Juventus are interested, there's a bidding war there. As an agent, you're going to say, wait till the summer, mate. Wait till the summer. We're quids in. So I don't think it's a quick deal, and I think it's about negotiating with the player. Keep up the good work, Mark, watching from Kenya. Art. And for the love of God, please let us get Zakaria, says Richie. I think United need to get this deal done, but do you trust United to be able to get it over the line? And as I said, I think it's definitely a deal that Rangnick wants to do. But you've got to, as I said it this morning, one of the things I've always done, and I'm really trying to do a lot more this season, this calendar year, is deep dive. The Eric Bailly story this morning, we went really deep into that, and I think he's been treated like crap by the club, who just want to make money off him and treat him like an asset. I think with this one, with Zakaria, people are coming at it from the wrong angle. They're saying, well, we haven't even put a bid into Mönchengladbach yet. Mönchengladbach are irrelevant. They've got no power. Zakaria's got the power. You've got to agree the deal with him. And when you've agreed the deal with him, then you can go to Mönchengladbach, we'll give you 5 million or whatever. But you've got to agree the deal with him. And as I said, we've got Lingard doing this. We've got Pogba doing this. I'm not going anywhere until the summer. Don't you want to play football? I'm not going anywhere until the summer because I'm going to be very rich in the summer and I've got a lot of options in the summer. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But look, whether it's Zakaria or it's nobody, the reality is Manchester United need a midfielder, and I don't think that. What was I going to say? I never have this. I don't think anybody can say that Ralf Rangnick doesn't want a midfielder. He's dropping hints left, right and centre. And he said it after the game on Monday. He said it after the game against Wolves. He said it in his press conference. We've got to get on with what we've got. But he's made it very, very clear that he needs a midfielder. So, yeah, it's... we'll have to just wait and see. But if it's going to happen... I think it will happen after the West Ham game when we've got that week off before the end of January. So if it's going to happen, I think that's when it will happen. And yeah, I don't think that story in the Manchester Evening News is anything to worry about. They're basically saying that it's unlikely to happen in January and that there's been no bids. Again, I don't think United are in control of this situation. I think they want Zakaria and it's down to him. So United will try and calm it, that they don't... Because ultimately, what United don't want... And again, you've got to think about it, haven't you? You've got to deep dive. What's the worst situation for United here? Zakaria signs a pre-contract with Liverpool or Arsenal, or he goes to Liverpool or Arsenal now, and United want him, and we haven't got a midfield. The last thing they want at the moment is, with all the trouble that they've got, try to get a player and he goes to Liverpool. So they've got to go, we're not even interested. But what United can't control is the fact when you pick up the phone or you speak to somebody associated with Zakaria and they tell the whole of Germany that you've spoken to them, it's pretty obvious that we've been speaking to him. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with it. Anyway, look, I'm back at 7 o'clock. If you want to continue the conversation whilst I'm playing a bit of FIFA, I'm going to be on Goldbridge TV in about 5 minutes' time. Links in the video description. Looking forward to starting my 3rd season and excited to play a bit of that. And then 7 o'clock tonight, we're back on here because 8 o'clock I'll be doing Spurs versus Chelsea on That's Football. So 7 o'clock tonight. Also, tune in tonight. Got a few updates on Paul Pogba. Speaking to somebody this morning very close to that deal. We've always been quite well informed about what's going on with Pogba. And we've got a bit of information in relation to Pogba, which we'll be talking about on the 7 o'clock show. I was going to do it at 2 o'clock, but the Zakaria story broke. So we'll talk about Pogba at 7. And I'll see you on Twitch in a few minutes' time if you want to join me. Links in the video description. Goldbridge TV. Thanks for watching. Smash a like on the video. Take care, everyone. I'll speak to you all soon.